Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about, reviews, reviewer bias, anything like that, what could be credited or discredited. Now, for anyone that does not know, I don't do reviews too often on this channel. I really don't. Reason being is that they do take quite a lot of time, and it has to be a product that I feel like I want to review, and something that I do feel passionately about, whether it be good or bad. Now, there are, quite a few reviews on YouTube and several other websites, anything like that, whether they be video or audio only, or even just, text, whatever it is. But the reason why I was also kind of prompted to make this video is from a comment. And funny enough, I just want to come out and say that this is not one of those videos where I've seen people do this. Like, they see one tweet or they see one comment and they're just like, oh, I'm so angry, I got to make a video about that. I'm not angry. I'm quite happy right now. I'm really content with everything. But I saw this comment and, I did reply to it, but I thought it was kind of funny. And I was like, this actually make a pretty good topic for a video. So this is, of course, about, as the title implies, reviewer bias and, what could be credited, discredited, what could make a good review, bad review. Now, what do I think is a good review? I don't think a good review is going to be something that gets a 9 or a 10 out of 10 or anything like that. No, a good review can even be something that completely fails a product, something that gives a product, a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10 on a scale, anything like that. Granted, what I'm looking for in a review is, first off, I'm looking for factual information, but I'm also looking for justifications with things. So if somebody comes out and says, they're talking about a new Killzone game and they say, the controls are really wonky on there, I want to know how the controls are wonky. I want to know how that works out directly. And granted, that could be even an age thing as well, too, because years ago, people thought it was strange when you had to use, 2 thumbsticks to control a camera in a first-person shooter. I know it sounds really foreign. No, trust me, I think one of the Alien games, it actually got a bunch of flack for that, like on the PlayStation 1, because it was a first-person game and you had to use both thumbsticks, and people thought it was just completely ass backwards and foreign. So the reason why I'm talking about this, as I said, related to that, I'll go ahead and bring this up here. This is about a product review that I had done before, and several people on there, had loved the video, but there was also, a bit of a minority on there that had said, well, you said that you did not like this product, and you talked about, that you didn't like it and that you disliked it and all this stuff, and this is a very biased review. And I, respectfully disagree with that. And the reason why I say that is because there was a comparison that I was doing, and I used factual information. I made sure I was in the same type of climate and environment. I think I did quite a fair review of the product that I was working with, even though I said that I was not a fan of it, but I also explained why I was not a fan there, and I justified it and everything like that. So that is really what happened there. Now, this one comment that I was talking about, I ended up reading this the other night on here, but they had said, you came out and you said that you did not like this product, that you disliked it. This is not a good review because you show that you have your bias there, and why would you really review a product that you dislike, that you openly say that you do not like or anything? And of course it was a shorter comment than that, but I want to elaborate on it. And I said, that's really not the case right here. And this is the example that I used. And this is a true thing right here. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 came out here quite recently. I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I'm really not. But I think Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is a good game. I think it's solidly built. I think it's quite fun. And I think they did quite a few awesome things to get, more bang for your buck on there. So I do think it is a good value as well when it comes to picking up a first-person shooter. I've recommended it to people. I've said, this would be a game that I would recommend if you're looking for a really fun, fast-paced, first-person Twitch-type shooter. Granted, there are others out there, but I still enjoy Black Ops 3 nonetheless, although I haven't played too much of it. But that's besides the point on there. Now, let's say I made a full-fledged review of Black Ops 3, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing it for anyone hoping, it's not happening. But let's say I made a full-fledged review for Black Ops 3 tomorrow. I'm sure the majority of people would say, oh, wow, this guy, Mr. Mario, said that he did not like Call of Duty. He doesn't like the Call of Duty series, but he gave Black Ops 3 quite a good review. He gave it a favorable review, and he even recommended it. That must be a good game. Well, that would kind of fall into the same ballpark as this. Is my opinion discredited because I have a bias against Call of Duty? Because I've openly stated multiple times on the channel that I do not like the Call of Duty series, that I'm not a fan of it? No, it really isn't, because if I made a review, I would be backing up everything on there and verifying my claims as well too. Now granted, a reviewer also has to be knowledgeable with what they're working with, but just because a reviewer is not a big fan of something or they don't like it or anything like that does not mean that they are going to produce a poor review, and that can actually go the opposite way. Let's say I came out and I said, I don't think Black Ops 3 is a good game. I'm sure I would get a lot of hate on there, and people would say, well, no duh, you think it's a bad game. You've openly said on here multiple times that you are not a fan of Call of Duty. How can you expect to give Call of Duty a good review, and how can you expect it to be a good game when you yourself say that you hate the series? I'm going to unsubscribe from you, I'm going to dislike this video, all this other stuff. So, and that has happened on videos as well too, where I have done, reviews of things where I just openly state, hey, this is not good right here. And that's kind of the thing. People get upset when you give something a bad review, even if it's justified. That's just kind of overall human nature. But at the same time, with human nature, people are also attracted to those bad reviews. If anybody remembers when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, I believe The Escapist, I want to say it was The Escapist, was the only publication that came out and gave Grand Theft Auto 5 less than a 9 out of 10. They gave it like a 70. And granted, first off, they got a ton of traffic for that, so I think part of that was honestly they knew what they were doing and they just wanted to clickbait people there. But also, even one of my friends had told me he likes hearing less favorable reviews over stellar reviews due to the fact that he wants to hear what these people saw in the game and what they say and what they justify as bad in this game, because there's no game that can be truly perfect in any way, of course. But what happened with that was, I think even in that review, I don't remember what exactly was said, but it was just evident that the author of that review was not knowledgeable with the game itself. And he was, he was really bashing on just the bad guy aspect of it. And it's like, you don't ever play Grand Theft Auto to be the good guy. That's never been a staple in the Grand Theft Auto series, especially with a game called Grand Theft Auto. So I think that review can mostly be thrown out just because his justification was really quite poor on there, and it showed a truly gross, honestly, misunderstanding of the series and what it is standing for itself. But also, when I'm talking about excellent reviews as well, there is Halo 5, for example. I did a review of it, and I said it is an okay game. Now, I'm a big Halo fan, and I said it's an okay game, and with long-term support, it can become a good to great game, depending on what 343 does with it. I had justified it by saying that I don't think the story was as well done as other Halo games, even compared to other video games in general. I just thought the story was, a bit poor and lacking in some effects here and there, which is really unfortunate. But there's also, other things. For example, Forge was not present on the game at launch, and I said that should have been something that would have been on the game. Now, a lot of people, I'm sure, would have justified and said, oh, well, they didn't have time, they need to get out the game and anything. Listen, as a consumer, that's not my fault, man. That's really not my fault. That's the developer's fault right there, especially since Forge mode has been a staple in every main series Halo game since Halo 3, which was in 2007. So a main series Halo game that comes out in 2015 does not have support on launch for Forge. That's pretty poor, in my opinion. So I gave it an okay review. As I said, I'm a huge fan of the Halo series. Some people might even say a fanboy, but I will be honest when it comes to my reviews on there. While as then, on the flip side, I also listened to a review that made me laugh because this person ended up reviewing Halo 5, and they were saying, it was an excellent game, it was so well done. It was really kind of an awkward video to listen to as well, too, due to the fact that it sounded like they typed up, a poorly written essay on Word and then just hooked up a microphone and kind of just awkwardly read into it. But in the end, he actually gave the game a perfect score, a 10 out of 10. And one of his justifications was the story. And I was like, if you've played the other Halo games, you would know that Halo 5's story is extremely weak compared to the other ones. Maybe a bit better than Halo 2, but that's it. And then even for first-person shooter campaign games in general, it was still not a very good story. It was just like, it was paper thin was the problem, and a lot of the hype they had around it too was really not relevant to the core game itself. Granted, it was still a good game, because I said, I praised the gameplay, I praised the level design, everything like that, but I just said, that story, pretty lacking on there. So really, those are my thoughts on it. What do you all think? Because personally, I think that it's going to happen whether we like it or not. There's going to be people that aren't a big fan of something, that might not like something too much, and they're going to have to review it. You see it, for example, people who are going to be in the review industry, they might be huge first-person shooter fans, but occasionally they're going to have to review a racing game, and if they can handle that properly, which they should have been, told to do, and that would be part of the job description, and it's expected of them in that industry, I think they can still write a good review over that racing game, even if it's not their forte. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone.